Here's a video on square roots and cube roots. The way to do square roots and cube roots is, for example, the square root of 4 equals 2, because 2 times 2 equals 4. Now you may be wondering how does that work? So there's a different way. So let's do square root of z equals x. This will switch around. We'll switch around the square root and make it z equals x squared. This right here is equal to the square root of z. So, and using that equation, we would figure out that 4 equals x squared, and something times something equals 4, obviously. So that we would figure out that 2 times 2 equals 4. And now that we know that much, we can actually start on our own question. So let's do the square root of 64. The square root of 64 would be equal to x. X to the second equals 64. We'd expand it to this. And then we know that x to the second equals 1, not minus, through, that's just dash, 63. We know that x squared. We know that x squared equals 1 through 63 squared. So we'd start by making a pretty estimated guess. We'd go with 10 times 10, which is 100. So we go 10 through 4, so which is 16. So 10, we know that the x equals 10, 4 through 10 now. So x equals 4 through 10. And so now we have to keep simplifying it down. So we're going to go to 6 through 9. 9 times 9 is 81. And 6 times 6 is 36. So it's in between 6 and 9. And then we continue, we go 7, which equals 7 to the squared is 49. And then 8 squared equals 64. Now obviously this was a pretty simple equation. I didn't have to put much effort. I did not really need to do all of this right here just to solve the question. I could have done that one in my head, but let's say you have a pretty large question and it's a cube root. So let's switch to cube roots now. Let's see, we have the cube root of 512. Cube root of 512. We would start by obviously saying this equals x to the second equals 512. So we know x to the second equals 1 through 511 squared. So we know that much. And I'm sorry, I'm kind of running out of room. We can continue this by making another estimated guess, and a way to do this quicker is just bring up a Microsoft calculator or any calculator. Really, let's put this right here. We start with, let's do 4 times 4 times 4, which equals 64. So we do 4 through, let's do 9 times 9 times 9 equals, 9 times 9 times 9 equaling 729. So, whoops, I didn't mean to write 729. 4 through 9. So we know it's either 5, 6, or 7, or it may be an irrational number, which we also have to consider when doing square or cubed roots. So we would do 5 times 5 times 5, which equals, it actually doesn't equal that, equals 125. So 5 through, we'd go down to 8 times 8 times 8, which equals 512. 8 times 8, 8 cubed is the answer. So now from doing all this, we figured out that 8 cubed equals 500 and not 12, whoops, 522. So 500, 5 times 5 times 5 equals, whoops, 8 times 8 times 8 equals 512, correct. Okay, so 512 is the answer. And 8 is the answer to 512 cubed root. So all that will lead us to just simplifying all this, and we could just by using z squared equals x, expanding it to x to the second equals z, and then we'd expand. I've actually run out of room, so we'll start back over here. And we do x to the second equals z minus 1 through 1. So z minus 1 through 1 squared. That is how a quick and easy way to do square roots. If you're struggling, you should be able to use a calculator. It will be okay with your teachers if you bring one to class. So thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed.